Okay. Did you hear that? The Transportation Committee, March 11th at 6 o'clock is called to order. I have on my virtual right, Alderman Brooks Schottlemeyer from Ward 5, and in my northwest is Alderwoman Rondell Pendle Charles from Ward 3, all present, and our faithful Takia with us. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda is approved. Do I have a motion to approve the February 11th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The minutes are approved on record. Okay, we have legislation, what is it? Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day legislation. First up is the 019-19. Hi, Sally. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Rick Gordon here yet? I was being rude. I didn't see him yet, or Kurt Regal. So I'll welcome them when I see them. Oh, hi. That's Director Johnson. Okay.
Yeah, those
Anyway.
they're not here yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So 019-19, Director Nash might know more than I, but I emailed Ross before this meeting, and they, as far as a status, and they're still reviewing the amendments 1 through 14 in red line dated February 1st. And what did they do? Did they piece it up? Because there's amendments 1 through 5. Now I am confused. I don't know if they extracted amendments 1 through 5. Wait a minute. Are those the same amendments?
So they reviewed and agreed on 1 through 5.
Okay, so those are the same 1 through 5 from the whole menu
I
of
think
them.
one was changed, right, Sally?
That's right. They
The
amended the amendments.
Yeah.
They amended the amendments.
Rhonda made me laugh on that one. So.
Did they decide on the? Oh yeah, so they decided on the 250. Oh no, 200. And I think I just saw something from Peter that agreed with that number. That was a big deal, the 200.
Oh, yeah. The 200 and 250.
That's the 250 trips requiring a traffic study.
Yeah.
The plot thickens a little bit because we were taking such a long time getting through rules that what we decided to do was for me to meet with Mike Johnson and Kwaku Dua and just kind of hash it out. Like, what do we really want? What makes sense? Let's look at other jurisdictions. Let's, this is our chance to get it right. So we have built on what Alderman Arnett did, but we are proposing a few different things. So I hope that doesn't cause too much upheaval, but I think in the end, it will be a much better product that the three of us feel like makes the most sense for what we want to achieve. So, we're still working on that a little bit, but we should be finishing in the next 2 weeks or so, something like that, I think. Do you think, Mike?
Did you say Kwaku?
I'm muted, yes, sorry. Yeah. Yes, about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Kwaku started forming the overall policy, and now we're just kind of fleshing out the details and working on the standards and figuring out how to incorporate safety as well.
Do you think the legislation is salvageable, or is it best to rewrite it? I mean, seriously, if I know, speaking for Alderwoman Pendle Charles and myself, we've always supported a rewrite because, I mean, when it gets to this point, I guess I just don't know how you're going to amend it because you are going to craft it differently, I assume. And I guess I'll leave it up to you.
I'll have to talk to Alderman Arnett about it. At this point, it would probably be easier to start over, but I know he might be reluctant to do that. But I think it would probably make a lot more sense. We're also still trying to stick to the formula of fixing the title so it makes sense from a legislative structure point of view, but then really fleshing out the guidelines more. So there will be more standards in the code now, or in what we're proposing, but ultimately a lot of the details are going to be back in the guidelines where I think it makes more sense for them to be. So I'm not sure. We'll just see what we end up with.
Yeah, it's totally up to him. I'm sure he doesn't want to lose, and we don't want him to lose the work that he's done on it. It's just what makes more sense. So
I could be wrong. I don't know why. It's my gut telling me. I think he wants to hold on to that number. Why? I don't know. That's just my gut speaking. There's something about that number.
Make it work either way, but it's just a matter of how much we'll have to amend it.
I'm not talking about the 250. I'm talking about O-1919.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Playing the lottery?
I don't know.
Oh, geez. Oh, no.
It's lucky for somebody, I guess.
Well, does anybody have any questions on where it is so far, I guess, since we have the directors here?
So my biggest concern, just kind of going over it with folks, was the substantial lowering of trips to require like a full traffic study. I believe the number they originally was desired was 100 or 150. Which one of those?
50. They were, with the third round of amendments, Alderman Arnett was proposing 50 trips, which we said in rules, we think that's too low because that means almost anything is going to be doing a traffic study. And what's our goal? We have to make sure it's not just wasted work, wasted money for the developers. We want to make sure we're actually achieving some kind of goal writ large as far as transportation goes. So instead of just doing studies for the sake of doing studies.
And the new amendment, was the amendment accepted to make it 200, I believe you said?
There was some back and forth and we ended on 200, but the directors or Mike and Kwaku and I thought we kind of need to figure out more of a rational basis for a number, why this number versus that number. Because I think we don't feel like we can't defend a number, we're just going to always be in a situation where it's debatable what that number is. So we've done a lot more analysis this time around on the kind of developments we have, what they trigger, what they would look like if they had to do a study.
Okay.
As well as what other jurisdictions do.
That's great because it won't be so subjective. Or project specific.
There's a lot of variety in Maryland about the threshold. So it was a bit challenging, but I think we've hit upon a good strategy. Cool.
Mr. Johnson, you have anything to add?
No, I don't. I think Sally covered it very succinctly and thoroughly.
Sally, you don't have any
problem. Put you on a hot seat, that's all.
Sally, you don't have any problem with this all being under... You all have to participate. Sally, you don't have any problem with it all being under your reporting. It's all
no, but I've secretly written into the guidelines.
Oh no, I knew that was coming.
No, I'm okay with it. We'll work it out. So.
Okay.
I think it's a good product. I think it would be a really good product and sort of really help the process, give us a rational basis. Because one of the challenges that we face is when you're dealing with like sharp developers or aggressive developers, they often push back, and you have to have a good rationale for your decisions. Otherwise, you're sort of like, you're not tied to anything. So this gives us a good basis for our decision to go forward, and it's fair to the city and to the development community.
Yeah, I mean, once you vary off a standard, then you're done for.
That's it. Yeah, you're finished.
Yeah. All right. Well, do I have a motion to postpone review until we get a heads up from Rules and City Government?
So moved.
Second. Okay. All in favor of postponement?
Aye.
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 Okay. We have the small cell system legislation. I'm really happy that amendments 1 and 2, I think I have to give credit to Jacqueline for doing that, translating the Planning Commission narrative into amendments. That I know that's what we had asked for, and then. So that I'm skipping ahead, but that was our first charge, was that we had all read the Planning Commission comments. They were very good, and so we supported those, and now they're in. Subsequent to that, I can let Alderman Shuttlemeyer discuss amendment number 3 from the input we got from a carrier, Comcast.
Yes. So Comcast has these wireless systems, which, as the bill was originally written, could be interpreted as falling under their regulations. That is an entirely different technology, though. 5G technology is more related to like our mobile devices versus wireless is more related to like laptops. They have different FCC regulations and guidelines. And so it's just essentially making it clear that the wireless systems, which are a different technology from the 5G systems, were under different regulations because they are different technologies. In Economic Matters yesterday, we gave this a favorable recommendation with those amendments. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that I think our from my notes, the other concern that we had was that we wanted to make sure that it wasn't proprietary, that we're still dealing with an open market. And that kind of worried us with the amendment, but we've learned that was necessary. Alderwoman Pendle-Charles.
Yeah, question. Alderman Shandemeyer, did you also proceed favorably with amendments at economic crimes? I mean, economic matters.
Yes, we did for the whole bill.
Okay.
Yeah, for the whole bill.
I know there were 1 and 2 amendments, the number 1 and number 2. So you all recommended favorably for those as well at economic matters.
Yes, Alderwoman Pendle-Charles.
Okay.
We recommended favorably with all 3 amendments on this ordinance.
Okay. Thank you.
I confess this is out of my wheelhouse. I just was looking at it for structure and making sure that wasn't any proprietary language. But I think that in this case, having the guidelines under separate cover is definitely the way to go. And Sally, do you need to speak about the guidelines and where they're at right now? They're finalized, right?
I sent yesterday. I sent the most recent draft, which I feel like is pretty good. The only thing I think that might need to change is and I'm not sure when to do this, I'll have to ask Jacqueline, if the Planning Commission's recommendations are adopted or as an amendment, then I would need to move those into the guidelines. But I don't know if I can do that before maybe I could just go ahead and do it. And if it's not amended, it would just be duplicative. Maybe that's what I'll do. So that was one thing I wasn't sure what to do, but they're in pretty final shape.
Okay, so I didn't know that. So they crossed the line into guidelines, so you have to amend the guidelines?
Well, they wanted to amend the code and move some sections that were in the code into the guidelines. So I just need to do that step.
Oh, that's a good thing. Yeah, right. No, I understand. Less is more, although there's different philosophies there. Alderwoman Pendle Charles.
Yeah, thank you, Alderman Tierney. I'm glad you owned up to not being your wheelhouse. I was just waiting for somebody to say it so I could piggyback on the same thing. This isn't mine either. Although I did, I feel like I'm in a good group. But I did deal with it peripherally when I was at Frank Herman Harmon Elementary School through the school system. So I do have some modicum of very low level knowledge about it. So thank you. I'm glad you confessed, because I wasn't going to till somebody else did.
Plus, I mean, there's this whole section on the historic district, so I'm good.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Does anyone want to propose a motion to recommend it as amended? Go that far with it?
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to recommend the ordinance favorably with amendments 1 through 3.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, it can move. It can move forward. Okay, relative to that is the resolutions, R41-20, which is the fees, the fee schedule, where we got some supporting data from Director, there's my Massachusetts accent, Director Nash, substantiating the fee. And refresh my memory, was who questioned that?
So Verizon believed that the fees that we were charging were not in compliance with FCC guidelines. And I believe they were basing that on neighboring Prince George's County. Their fees were lower than Anne Arundel's and Annapolis's. So they were asking to see the fees that we had come up with. I managed to get my hands on the county's fee estimations, and I sent that over to them. I don't know if they've seen the recent thing that Dr. Nash has shared, but our fees are a little bit different from the county's, but they are justified in their cost, for my interpretation.
Yeah, I really appreciate Dr. Nash doing that, because I'm going to offer my opinion. I think all of our fees need to be re-looked at to substantiate the actual work that we do, because something's skew. We should be bringing in money to support our staff. So it's worth really looking at and seeing where we're not reimbursing ourselves for all the work that you do.
One of
my editorial
things that I believe is worth pointing out is Dr. Nash's estimation of fees for modifying one of the existing small cell systems. The city is only charging $1,475, and Dr. Nash's estimates of cost is $2,116 to the city. So we are, in my mind, actually providing a very good incentive for cellular carriers to install 5G technology and modify it and maintain it in our city.
You're making me rethink this. I think Alderwoman Pendle Charles.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Nash, how does that, or if it does, affect your budget?
Well, all of our permit fees go into the general fund, so it doesn't really affect us.
Okay, but still, I would assume it would be helpful.
It would help.
If that was
hopefully the city will see the revenue from it. I mean, it's supposed to be revenue neutral, so the amount we spend on salaries will be, we can't charge more than the work we do to process the permits. And I just want to make sure we were capturing all of the work that we really are going to have to be doing for these new kind of technologies that, they're going to have to be reviewed at a high level, especially at first.
I actually have a quick question on the difference between our fees and the fees the county are charging. How come our fees for modifications are your chart, most of our costs line up pretty evenly. But the modification fee or our modification costs are significantly higher than the county's. Do you know why that is?
I don't know. It might be a order of operations issue where, like, we have something come into our permit counter. We still need the same number of people to look at it, whether it's 500 applications or 5 applications. So they just might be set up differently where certain things work more efficiently because they have more people. But I don't know. Also, some of our processes are different, so that could also be a factor.
But why can't we raise it? Can we recommend raising it to reimburse you accordingly, or us accordingly, or is that going to open up a can of worms?
Well, that was kind of my thinking because I was a little under for the cost of new, and I'm suspecting that most of these will be new. So I don't know if we want to change the 4,000 to a 3,700 to be exact, or if is it close enough? I'm not sure. These could take a little more time or a little less time to review. We don't really know till we get them. We'll have to look at it every year. So I felt like for now, this was probably a good analysis of what we'll be doing. And there'll be certain things, if it's not a new system and a new poll, we won't have to look at as carefully. So there won't be so much involved in that. So it's sort of an estimate, but we do try to do the fees every year. But I probably do. I am raising some of them this year, but probably should be thinking about that every year.
Yeah. Okay. Can I entertain a motion to recommend the fees and maybe a step further reevaluating them for cost?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry,
Aye.
what's the motion?
We're approving the fees.
So you recommend it favorably?
Yeah, we did. We did.
No, you didn't say it. It wasn't said. It was just so moved. So
Yeah.
My motion was to favorably recommend,
Okay.
let me get the exact number, R4220. Or I'm sorry, R4120. Favorably recommend R4120.
thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then on to the fines. I don't think we had it. Go ahead, Brooks. Yeah.
In economic matters, we recommended this favorably. There was no one really reached out to us on whether or not they had issues with the fines. In my conversation with representatives from Verizon, they said we are okay with the fines. So, I mean, if the people we're fining are okay with it, I think that's a pretty ringing endorsement.
What were they what are they based on, Dr. Nash? The fines, how do we do those? I mean, sort of as the not actual.
Our going rate for municipal infractions.
Okay. $100 a day. Okay. Do I have a motion to recommend our 42-20, the fines for the small cells systems?
So moved.
Second for favorable.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Welcome, Alderman Payon. Are you feeling okay? Oh, no, you didn't have your shot today. Okay. Speaking of Alderman Payon, our next piece of legislation is 05-21, the Tucker Street launching facility. Alderman Payon, would you care to speak to it?
Yeah, I think it's a great piece of legislation and you ought to recommend favorably. It is a project that needs to be done. The launching area itself is in really bad shape, and it's been in bad shape for a while. We actually had this come up 2 years ago, and we did not get the grant funding that we had hoped to get, and therefore the project didn't happen. This year, it's part of our, what's the term I'm looking for? The building part of our budget.
Capital projects?
I'm sorry?
You say capital projects?
Yes, it's a capital project, so we're going to pay for it by bond. We are going to enhance what we have, which is understandable. Every 30 years or however long that's been there, I don't think it's unreasonable. We do part of that. My ordinance, proposed ordinance, would require a sticker, which costs it's either $10 or $15 from the harbor master. It's the same fee that we have at Truxton Park to launch a boat. The sticker lasts for a season. So if you're going to take a boat in and out, $15 for a whole year is not such a bad deal by any means. It's almost a de minimis amount. I think it would allow all parts of our city to use the facility, and the neighbors want it. There's a traffic problem there. A parking problem is much more than a traffic problem. What happens is that, well, Tucker Street is not a particularly wide area. As you get down toward the launching facility, there are a number of houses with very small driveways, and they need to park on Tucker Street. And what happens is that these people can't park in front of their own house. They have to go up a steep hill, in some cases as much as, maybe 100 yards to park in the summertime. Things get busy there. I'm not sure emergency equipment can make it down there, so we really do need to do some things. We've set up a parking area at the top of Tucker near Monterey Avenue. What else can I say about it? We wouldn't be charging for paddle boats, rafts, kayaks, and they would all be able to be launched from there and stored. Kayaks would be a storage facility down there.
Alderman Payon, as a good engineer, I did a job site visit and I sent some pictures. To Kia. Do you mind if, just so we all know what you're talking about, do you mind if she screen shares them? To Kia, hit
no.
it.
That's fine, as long as you don't accuse me of not knowing what I'm talking about.
Oh, no, I want them to, it verifies what you just said. I just want that, because you can see the shape of the landing and the narrowness of it. If I don't know if she got them yet or not, but I don't want to put her on the spot.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful spot. I've got a couple pictures, but I don't know how to put them up. I could send them to you, but today we have an agreement with Anne Arundel County in terms of jurisdiction over Weems Creek, and we have co-jurisdiction. And let's see, the day that we had the ceremony, public ceremony regarding that was an absolutely Chamber of Commerce day in the late springtime, and the pictures I have, it's really beautiful down there. Yeah,
if you show it to Kia, we can still see each other, right? Yeah. I just wanted her to see, you to see the existing, because the other thing that this legislation does, I'm sorry, Brooks, I'm gabbing, but the other thing this legislation does is sort of transfer all of those signs. They'll probably clean up all those signs, and it will all be under the harbor master now. So
yes.
Yeah, so you probably won't see all those signs that say what they say, because Beth Bellis will most likely, clean that up with signage saying,
I'm sure Beth will.
Yeah, that's a big piece of this, is that it's all going to be under the harbor master, and as such, her rules are very clear, and there has been some pushback in them sounding a little bit onerous, but
well, they're really not. I mean, the legislation also provides for what evidence would be acceptable to show you're a resident of the city. We'd like to limit this to city residents. If somebody challenged that constitutionally, I don't know if we'd win or not, but till that happens, let's keep it. Keep that. I think it's much better that we do that. And we do list different ways that you can prove you're a city resident. I don't know that they're absolutely exclusive, but they give you a good idea of what you need to show.
Alderman Schaudelmeier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I wanted to say, for the record, if anyone is watching, I originally had a concern about this legislation because I misunderstood it when it was said there was a residency requirement. I interpreted that as for the local development. Alderman Payon corrected my misconception. It is city residents only, and this is the exact same residency requirements for Truxton Park.
That's right.
Available to all boat launch. So I agree with your assessment at the beginning of the hearing on this. It is a pretty good piece of legislation.
Alderwoman Pendle-Charles.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question about the sign. It says Annapolis residents only. That means if I live in 21409, which is the Bay Bridge, Cape St. Clair area, that means that says city, but the other one says Annapolis residents only, which means that one says you have to be city residents, but the other sign doesn't. But like you said, the signs are going to be changed.
Yeah, 21409 is not a city zip code. That's
no. What I'm saying is right. But what I'm saying is the other sign said Annapolis residents, which technically are Annapolis residents. I got an Annapolis zip code.
Well, it's not.
So that's what.
Zip code.
No. What I'm saying is a lot of people, and I'm just taking it from the fact, a lot of people will go to vote because they have an Annapolis address and think they live in one of the wards, because I was talking to, and they go to the polls and they think they can vote, which they can't. And so the other sign, but when they put up the new signs, it should clearly say City of Annapolis, not just Annapolis.
That's a good point. I see what you're saying.
I mean, technically, yeah.
I gotcha.
So,
It is within the city limits, correct?
So it should be city residents, just like this one says city residents, but the other one said Annapolis residents.
How about Annapolis city residents or City of Annapolis?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That'll work. That'll work.
Thanks for. Yeah, and there's, that's the ramp. Yeah. One other suggestion, it doesn't have to be an amendment, but to address the Annapolis Environmental Commission, it was Bevan Buchheiser that thought it didn't sound friendly, and referenced a lot of Hispanic people that fish, and just, I just thought, I think we do with every legislation is maybe not, but just make the rules bilingual. Does that have to be an amendment, and just the signs could some, That's
a city decision that we don't have to make.
Okay.
Administrative decision.
Okay.
And I think I have to take a look. It's been a long time since I've taken a look at the plans themselves, but there may be a place where they can actually fish off of. I'm not sure about that, but you know, if they want to use a boat to go fishing, somebody's going to have to buy get a sticker.
And, yeah, that's all they have to do. So just so that they feel welcomed. So yeah, I think with some of my traffic legislation, we always issued it in Hispanic so that it's clear. So I guess could I have a motion to suggest that?
I don't think you need to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Just.
It's up to Beth and David and.
Yeah, we'll just talk about it then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Does anybody have any other? Oh, Alderman Schottlemeyer.
I was just going to make a motion to recommend this favorably.
Second.
All in favor by saying aye.
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 Aye. Sorry, Fred. I just
Alderman Payon can never say we didn't do anything for him.
And I just read your text to see if you had to be here. I would have made you come anyways.
I put two hands up for that.
All right. We have, before adjourning, we'd like to hear from, Rick Gordon and Kurt Riegel. I don't know, or is Kwaku here, or any updates from the Transportation Department?
Alderwoman Tierney, I believe I'm going to excuse myself at this point.
You may be excused.
Thank you, teacher.
Hi, Rick.
Hi.
Hi.
Enjoy.
Hey, Rick, good news today. You're going to get some of that money?
Hopefully. I certainly hope so. We can always use it.
Yeah, because my new idea is.
Have you been good the past year?
I have.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because my new idea is free bus service.
Oh.
I'm all about that. I think we should have a month of free bus service, just a month, just so that everybody gets used to using the bus. It's
With
kind of like
the parking problems of the garage project, that's not a bad plan.
Well, AMRP is working on a plan. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, the experts are.
Yeah, so we'll see. At any rate, guys, I haven't completed this month's monthly report yet, but I can tell you that our transit services obviously continue to be affected by COVID, in particular in February, because we had so many days of bad weather where we either didn't operate or days that we carried very few people. Free rides haven't improved as of this point, including kids. But with school opening now, I would hope we'll see some increase over the course of March and into April. Parking activities, obviously the same way. There hasn't been much in the way of change for that. Parking is still down by about 80% in the garages and on the city lots. Meter transactions remain at about 70%. And citations are down by about 10%. With regard to the AMRP, I just had my biweekly meeting with them yesterday, and we're getting close to providing all of the data that they need before they can move on to and complete their feasibility study. So I sent something out today to Town Park and SP Plus for some final information that they need in order to move forward with their efforts. Hopefully, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, they should have something that they can at least start presenting to city staff, because I've asked them in the coming meetings to include the city manager and a few others who have an interest in it. So that's in essence where I am at this point. My monthly report should be done by the end of the week. And of course, we send it to the city manager, and then you all will have access to it. But I don't expect there's going to be much change in February. We had a tough month with the weather, those kinds of things. So hopefully now spring's coming, things start to look up.
When you say AMRP recommendations, is that specific to transportation, but not the whole project, right?
That is for the feasibility study that they're doing for the garage.
Okay. Okay.
As part of that project, they have a mobility component.
Right.
So it will also include some recommendations for public transit and what we do with the people parking in Hillman during construction. So there's a lot of work going on right now.
Mm-hmm. So spoiler alert, is it looking good?
They're smiling. They have some things that I think you'd be pretty fond of too. They mentioned some things regarding parking and in the residential districts that we've already talked about.
Gotcha.
So they're on the right track. I'll put it that way. I look forward to what they come up with in the coming weeks.
That's good. That's great. One question, very important question. Are all your bus drivers vaccinated?
No.
Oh.
They have not been. I have some drivers who also drive school buses. So that group has been vaccinated. I suspect the majority of my folks will be vaccinated in the coming weeks because we are essential.
Yes.
So when things open up, they should be right at the front of the line. We've been working the entire time. We're one of those agencies that is not working from home. We're all in the office daily.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll let our public safety chair know if you need any help with getting first in line.
I've been working very closely with Director Simmons.
Director Simmons.
Yeah.
Alderman Schottlemeyer?
One relevant question to our vaccinations of our employees, and then just one note. Kurt does not have the link. He just shot me a text. So if someone could please email it to him. So our transportation workers and drivers, they do qualify for the upcoming clinic at Pitt Moyer on March 26th.
Yes.
Is there interest in signing up for that? Is there hesitancy signing up for that?
Well, we're sort of surveying people right now. We just found out a bit about it today. I got a feeling at least 70-80% of the people will want to get the vaccine. One of the things we'll be asking over the next day is, do you want it or not? And those that have it, so we can sort of narrow the list down to exactly who wants to get the shot. I look forward to getting as many of them as possible in there.
Excellent.
Takia, did you want to say something? Oh, I thought she had her hand raised.
Yeah, I was just saying I sent Mr. Regal the link twice.
Yeah, I know he was on the original email.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta resend it. I lose things sometimes.
I had copied and pasted it to his email as well. So it's been a while. He hasn't logged on yet.
Okay. I feel like we should wait. It's the
Motion to adjourn.
I know. All right, the turkey's getting cold. I don't know what made me say that.
I have some fantastic dinner from Jack's Fortune, one of our wonderful local restaurants.
Yeah, that is probably our best, one of our best Chinese restaurants. Kurt, we were just discussing takeout food. So we're glad you could join us. How are you, Kurt? Kurt.
Thanks very much.
Yes, my colleagues can witness the frustration in your good intention of the resolution to have the General Assembly adopt our resolution. My wonderful colleagues had a little bit of amnesia, remember? That was a struggle.
Bill,
I see.
It passed, though. It passed. But it's funny because it made people think it was this delayed reaction to the original resolution saying, what do you mean? Why are we allowing people to bicycle on the sidewalks? And it's like, we don't want to be one of the 4 remaining states that don't allow it. And there is an urgency in doing so. But there were concerns. I said that there was a good question on implementing signs where where it is unsafe, have we really looked at putting signs? Who would survey and note and designate areas that were unsafe, sidewalks that were unsafe? Or I don't know if that's the plan.
Yeah, I understand. Those are the details, and they're important. For your information, the County Transportation Commission last night adopted a resolution very similar to that we adopted in Annapolis, and so we're bringing the county, city, and state all in alignment if all goes well.
That's good, because you pass them all if you're on the BWI trail coming into the city. No, I don't. You know what I mean? It's good to all be on the same page. So tell us what's up with Transportation Committee. I mean, your
not much has happened. We're apart from the bicycle thing, which is pretty much behind us now, thankfully, thanks to your good work. The next thing is to look more closely at transit, and I hope to get together with Director Rick Gordon with respect to financial details, because some of the things that we are considering will have very great financial implications, and we want to get it right. Yeah,
your member, can't recollect them. Your member that's done a lot of research on introducing transit. So there's definitely a big push, Rick, from the Transportation Board to elevate transit.
Yes. And the only other thing is that one of our members, Kara Plewinski, is looking toward making a recommendation for some survey work that would help to mold the Annapolis transit future. But that's in the very initial stages, and we have nothing to report yet.
When do you think Director Gordon could meet with the board to discuss the numbers, or because I know he does have the numbers, the ridership numbers and stuff.
We need to frame intelligent questions first, though.
Okay. I'm sure you will. Okay. One thing I was going to bring up at the transportation a board to sort of be a squeaky wheel is, I don't know if you've been around town, but and I know it's not any, I mean, it's just, we're just to support a new bike, the bike share thing. I know that we have the remnants of the old one, and I know that I get some complaints on these bike share bikes just sort of, they're left over, they're not working. So ultimately, we should have them replaced, and I'm sure you support a new bike share.
Yeah, I see the remnants of the old system are all over town, but they appear to be abandoned and unused.
Yeah, so you can be my squeaky wheel on that one.
Okay. Kara Plewinski has been looking into that also.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. To have some recommendations. Yeah. All right. Yes, Alderwoman Pendle-Charles.
I have some good news.
Yay.
I put it out there to my residents if anyone was interested in joining the Transportation Board. I got 2 folks, one who lives in the Fairfax Road community and one who lives in the Annapolis Gardens community. So I sent them off to Hillary, and they're going to fill out the paperwork. They're 2 excellent folk. So I was trying to get 1, and I've got 2. And from what the website said, it was 3 vacancies. So I don't see why we can't have 2. So that's my piece of good news.
Thank you very much for identifying those people.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's great news. Yay. And I heard there's a new bus shelter on President Street. I saw that on Facebook. So that's good news. All right. Well, does anyone have any other questions for our guests or any other for the good of the order? No? Don't forget Pi Day, March 11th. You can go to the Incredible Pi. Yeah.
14th.
Oh, 314. Sorry. Oh my God. So much. Yeah, right. Thank you. Just testing. I was just testing you, Kurt. All right. Well, on that, do I have a motion to adjourn and have some Chinese food?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a